I love autumn, the one season of the year that God seems to have put there just for the beauty of it. And that's from the writer Lee Maynard. Our theme for October is beauty. And who better to begin our contemplation of beauty than the person who is J for joy, followed by a C for courage and an E for enlightening, the Reverend Joyce Zorger.
Wow. I am so moved by that song that you sang, and then to have you say the words you said. I mean, this morning I have to show you what I gathered. I hope I get through this without breaking down and crying, but I am so moved by music and moved by all of the love I feel when I come into this room. And I just have a little basket, and I was collecting acorns. And this time of year in autumn, the acorns are falling like rain from our white oak trees and our red oak trees. And there's a difference between the red oak and the white oak. And the white oak have these cute little caps, the little hats, and they fall off sometimes when they fall on the ground. And they're very slippery. I have to watch where I'm walking because they're like little marbles all over the place, and I can slip and fall if I'm not careful. I have to be very mindful of where I'm walking. Oh, where am I going? They can't see me up there? Okay. Yes, I do want to be seen, right? Anyway, these little acorns are from the white oak tree, hundreds, thousands of them. And so talk about everything is holy. I look at this little acorn, and then I look up at the immensity of these oak trees and how those oak trees came from this little acorn. And the red oak is even smaller, and they're as big as the white oak trees. And this is the acorn of the red oak tree. And so I gathered some acorns. If you want to take one or two home, you're welcome to. I have my little basket. I went trepsing along on the road this morning, gathering them. Beauty is autumn, is really autumn. I love the changing of the colors. The trees are starting to change already, especially the poison ivy, not ivy, but poison oak. It's turning red and yellow. And it used to be just plain green, but now it's changing color. And I was told that it can be more toxic when it changes color, when it becomes red. So don't touch it. Yeah. So, and of course, every year in autumn, the wild pigs come and visit my property, and they have been coming, and I have been doing all that I can to keep them away. I have a clown that waves its arms and its eyes flash, and it has these horrible things it says, like, did I scare you? Oh, good. You taste better when you're scared, is what it says. and it's really quite, sometimes I turn it on so it goes through the night, because that's when the pigs come. And sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night hearing this clown, and I have to be careful, cover my ears. Oh, is it? Left ear. I'll take it off. Okay, I'll give it to, just remember to give this back to me next. I worry about these dangly earrings. This happens, and it happened to me once before. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So where am I now? I'm back to pigs. Okay, I've counted 40 of them one time, 40 wild pigs. And the one benefit of the wild pigs is that they have actually kept the rattlesnake population down, because every spring we have issues with rattlesnakes. And I've had dogs that were bit by rattlesnakes before, and it's very, very threatening and chancy and expensive to get the shots. So, but I haven't seen a rattlesnake this spring. I didn't see one last spring. And every year I've shared, I think with you, that I had my lawn was torn up. They rode a root the lawn, and I finally had to give up on the lawn, and I put in artificial turf. And that's the only thing that looks good on my property right now, because they dig up plants, the pigs dig up the plants, and they eat the roots. And then they leave the rest of the plant, but you pick up the plant, it has no roots. And so I've got a lot of work to do right there, and just trying to restore things. But anyway, beauty, talking about beauty. I love some of the sayings of beauty, and I wrote this down. I like the thought of eye of the beholder, meaning the eye, that spirit, that sacredness within, that holy place within. And and I love what Father John O'Donohue, he said, our senses are the gateway to the soul. And I believe that nature is that gate that opens. I mean, when we put ourselves into a place of seeing everything holy in nature, it really helps me to know that there's that connection. There is this, what I open my heart and my soul to, that restores my heart and soul. This has been a difficult year for me, but the nature, the animals, I look at the trees, I collect acorns, all of this, and the friendship that I have, and the people that call out to me and ask me how I'm doing. And I think I shared with you, I had a bad fall and slipped and fell and landed on my left hip, and it didn't break. And I am grateful for that. And that to me is a sign of just being, it reminds me, be careful wherever I go, and take my time and not rush. So because I'm, like I think I shared with you before, I'm an Aries personality, and I have a lot of energy, and I move quickly, but I have to slow down. I have to slow down, and realizing that everything is holy helps me to absorb that, and that restores my soul. So I want to talk about the senses, because our sense is a sense of sight. And I think that when we really see, if we really see someone and we really see them, we see the light within them. And I believe that we need to take the time to absorb that light that each of us have when they feel that they have been seen. And I say to my animals all the time, I say, I see you. And that that calms them down. When I look at them and my dogs, my puppies, Toby and Lucy, they're 5 years, they're going to be 5 years old. I've talked about my puppies for the last 4.5 years. So, but they are a force to contend with. I decided to get two they could keep each other company, but they have been a lot of work and training, but I have moved through it, and I've lived through it. And now they're actually, they listen to me most of the time, except that when they get out together, they take off and run. But somebody, I think it was, not you, Rita, but Tink, sent a beautiful scene of the sunset. And I have that on my cell phone, and I got it on the computer too. Nextdoor, I guess that she sent that out on Nextdoor, and it was just the most beautiful scene. And so that's the thing that I believe that we need to take in, this beauty. It's all around us, and I just get overwhelmed by that the beauty that I see, and I know that the sight, how important that is to really feel and take the time. I'm always going outside around the time that the sun goes down. I want to see if there's a sunset, and there, with the clouds that we've had, have been so beautiful, and they create so much beauty in the sky. And then I like when I think about our sense of smell, how important that is, and that's one of I remember when I was a little girl, I used to plant sweet pea. And I loved to plant them, and then I had the little sticks and had that little cording on it, and they would hang on to that. And then that April is the sweet pea is the flower for April. And I remember picking those a bunch of sweet peas and giving them to my mother. I still love the smell. When I smell the sweet pea, it takes me back to when I was a little girl. And one of my favorite smells was back when they had clotheslines, and my mother had an old Maytag wash machine, and every Monday we would do the laundry, and I would help her when I was out, not in school, and we'd hang the sheets on the clothesline. And then that night, Monday night, and the smell of those sheets, there's nothing like taking something out of a dryer and that smell. I can still remember how fresh it smelled with the wind blowing through those sheets. and having that Monday night feeling of the fresh sheets on my bed. And I think that breathing, that just the breathing, it takes in that energy. We breathe in and we refresh ourselves. We hold the breath sometimes, and when we're in meditation, and then release. I like to breathe in through my nose, or release through my mouth, and it's really life sustaining. And I think it's just, connecting to the air and to the sky and to all life. I think they say that one of the strongest connection to memory is the sense of smell. And I remember saving a little bottle of perfume that I had when I was a teenager, and I stuck it in a drawer somewhere, and I found it, took it out, and opened the top and smelled it, and it took me right back to my dating days in the 50s. It was kind of special, and it brought back a lot of wonderful memories. I enjoyed that sense of smell. After the rain that we had, it was just amazing just to walk and to enjoy the outdoors, and be able to, everything smells so differently after rain. It's just like everything was washed and clean. I enjoy that very much. I have another sense that we have, it's sight and smell and touch, and how important that touch is, that gentle touch. It expresses love and expresses caring, and we feel comforted by that. And we say that we talk about sometimes when we hear something, we say, it touched my heart. I felt touched by that. I feel touched by your love. I guess I might be a tree hugger. I don't hug the trees, but I like to touch them and feel their energy, and have them tell me their history, because I know that they've got to be well over 100 years old. They are immense. They are just immense. But unfortunately, with the terrible heat that we've had out in my area, we had some days that were 117, believe it or not. Yes, whoa. Yeah, it was extremely hot there for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. We've had this, not every day was 170, but most of the time it was 110, 112, anywhere in that range. And I think that what was happening, because we lost not a lot, but three different oak branches, great big branches had fallen, because the oak trees, they suck up the water, because their roots go deep, and they suck up the water, and the water goes to the branches, and the branches get very heavy, and they just can't sustain that weight to the branches. So I'm talking about branches that are probably from here to the door, that are that long, that have fallen. And of course, when I go walking out there, I'm always waiting to hear a cracky sound, and be able to run if I hear it. So, but fortunately, nothing has fallen on our house. We don't have any big trees next to our house, but there are a few by the barn. And one year, one big branch fell on our barn roof, and we had a big expense to have to replace that section of the barn. But the oak, I have a guy, he's a neighbor of mine, good friend, and he likes to come over and cut up the red oak, because he sells it. And so it's a nice exchange. And John had a log splitter that I don't know how to use. God bless you. The log splitter that John used for many years, it was something that I didn't want to mess with, so I sold it to my neighbor that was cutting up the wood, and I said, with a promise that if ever I need any wood, that he would supply it for me. So I think that's going to work out fine. He's a good neighbor, good friend. So we're going on to the sense of taste. Our taste is, I like to eat, and there are certain foods I tell people my favorite meal is Spam and cream corn and potatoes, boiled potatoes. When I was a kid, that was what I loved the most. I'm a pretty cheap date, I guess. But I bought a big case of Spam at Costco, so I'm working through it. Yeah, Spam is good. I get the the low sodium type now. So they talk about the Zen of mindful eating, and I'm trying to practice that. So I don't eat too fast because there's always something to do, something I have to get done. But I try to slow myself down and taste the food when I'm eating it and enjoy it. You know, there are all the different flavors and tastes. And so, I mean, we're never too old to learn how to a new behavior. So I'm working on that. So I don't go through a meal and think, what did I just eat? I went through it so quickly, and then I didn't enjoy the taste, but I do enjoy the taste of the Spam. I guess that's why I liked it so much, because it has a strong taste. Okay, then hearing is another sense that we have, and we have our my sanctuary is when I come down. I do my yoga in the morning, every morning, Monday through Friday, without fail, and Saturday, Sunday I give myself a break. And that I've been doing that since 1985. I think I shared that with you. And I really believe that fall that I took on my left hip saved that from being broken, because I'm flexible. I take care of my body, and I work on keeping it flexible and walk every day, morning and evening. But I have a sacred space, a sacred sanctuary. I come downstairs after my yoga, come downstairs, I do my spiritual reading. And what I love is years ago, my daughters, we have 3 daughters, they bought me a beautiful fish tank. It's huge, it's about 20-gallon fish tank. And I've had fish in it over the years, all this time. And then I got to where, feeding them every morning, and they don't last very long. They seem to, they're around for a while, then they're gone. But anyway, I got artificial fish in my fish tank now. And they work. I keep wanting to feed them because all these years I've been feeding the fish, and now I have these artificial fish, and they're really pretty. They are like fish that you would see in a saltwater tank, and the tank doesn't get dirty like it used to get dirty. So I love my artificial fish. And my daughter found those on Amazon. They were only like $10 for like 8 or 9 fish. And so that if you're ever over my house, be sure and see my fish tank. I'm proud of it. It's really pretty. It's much prettier than when I had the real fish in there, because these fish are colorful. So so anyway, I lose my track of thought when I get off. I'm talking about hearing. And so the hearing I hear is the fish tank, and it's the bubbling water, and it's so soothing, and to hear that. And then also I have wind chimes around my porch, and when the wind blows, I hear the wind chimes. And then I'm right in shot of the bird feeder, and I see the birds out there, and they're so excited, because I always make sure that there's food and water for them. What I don't like is my barn cats sometimes will lie underneath the bird feeder, and they're just staying there, like looking around and waiting for the bird. And I have to go out and chase the cat away. So the minute I open the door, they know to get out, to clear out. They can catch mice, they can catch gophers and other things. They don't have to catch my birds. I really love the birds. And I think that when you hear, sometimes when I hear those sounds, it helps me to have a deeper appreciation for life and for all the senses that we have been given. These are the senses that I believe God has given me to enjoy and have me realize how holy everything is. The sounds, the sights, the smells, the touch, all of this. These are ways that we absorb this holiness. When we were raising our daughters, John and I camped a lot. We had an old Ford van, and we always had a dog, and we would take our dog and our 3 daughters camping, and we'd camp in the national park. So I think I've enjoyed most of the national parks, especially not so much way back east, but from the Midwest and then and California, and they're just so beautiful. And I just remember, and also the deserts in California. We camped a lot in the desert. The desert is beautiful. It has a peace, and it has life there too. So much beauty there. So enjoy the beauty wherever you go. The world is so full of beauty. We hear a lot of, the dark times and all of that, but it's up to us to create the light that we want to see. It is our thinking that creates this light within each one of us. that we connect with the beauty in the world, that we connect with the beauty in each person that we meet. I enjoy going to town because I talk to the salespeople, the checkers, and I just, to me, there are no strangers. I just have it makes me, and sometimes they don't respond, but that's okay. I still enjoy being able to connect with people. I see the light in people, and I see that they connect, they want to be seen. And so anyway, that's my thing. I don't go to town very often because I live so far out in the country, but it takes me, the gas prices and all that. But I still go at least twice a week, and I try to get in and do my refill and be able to refill and restore and enjoy. And then I come home, and things are kind of quiet at my home now since my husband passed away, but I still say hi to him when I come in the house. I say, "Hi, honey, I'm home." And I know that he feels that. I feel the consciousness that he's there. And I've shared with you, many of you know that we've been married a long time, almost 64 years. And that's a long time to have someone there in the house, but his consciousness is still there. And then I have my beautiful dogs that can be naughty at times, but they are company too. And music. I love music, and I can't sit still when anybody is playing music. I'm always moving to the music, and someday I'm going to start dancing again because I dance at home. I'll put on Creedence Clearwater and I'll dance to Creedence. Love that. They have a documentary, Creedence Clearwater, and it's Creedence Clearwater Revival. If you haven't seen that on Netflix, enjoy it. If you're from my generation, those are songs that when John raced motorcycles, and we would go to trophy presentations because he was very good, and he'd get second, third place in the races that he raced in the desert. And they would play Creedence Clearwater. So when I heard that, I just played it about a few days ago. I played that documentary, and I was dancing around in the room, in the Indian room we have, and I was dancing around. The dogs were kind of looking at me like thinking, "What is she doing?" But anyway, I just love the music. It just kind of restores my soul, in music. Thank God for your music. It restores my soul whenever you're here and play. I love it. And I love, Rita, your sense of humor and your laughter. There's a wonderful article in my latest Science of Mind magazine on playfulness, and that is so important. I'm going to do a talk on playfulness one of these days because it's so important to laugh and enjoy our lives while we're here. And so God bless you for your sense of humor. I love it. Okay, I think I'm almost done. I'm probably way over. But anyway, come in. Oh, to intuition, I forgot to mention. Even though they say 5 senses, I believe we have 6 senses, and I believe that intuition is one of those senses, and I believe that is spirit. It's always present within me to give me guidance, and I know that it is within you when you recognize and accept it. It's recognition and acceptance. That's what it takes. And that intuition is there. It's always ready to guide you. And I've had some close calls, and I listened to my intuition. I had a situation where I was riding one of my horses, and he was just full of piss and vinegar, I guess. Yeah, but you know the word. You accept that. I can say that. Anyway, I was going on a ride. This is my last ride on him because I stopped riding him because he was too threatening. But before I left, I made sure I was on him. And then I thought, something was telling me, tighten the saddle more. Make sure the saddle's tight. I got off, tightened the saddle a little more, tightened the cinch, went out on the ride. I was riding with a friend, and she got a little too far ahead of me, and he got very upset, and he started spinning and rearing and carrying on and under a tree, and I was so grateful. I listened to my intuition that said, tighten the cinch. That saddle would have spun and would have been sideways, and I would have been on the ground. So I'm a cowgirl from way back. I've had horses most of my life, but I think at my age, I maybe should give this up because I don't, I have to be careful. But then again, I think I've lost part of my identity, and that's kind of in a, but But that's only in my thoughts. That's only the negative thinking. So I correct that thinking and move on from there, because we go through seasons of life, and life is filled with change. So we drop the C and the E and hang in there. I like that word, change. And I like the word choice, because choice, my name is Joyce, and I say Joyce with a choice, and we're always at choice to decide if our thinking is toxic or not. And if it is toxic, we can do something about it, and we don't have to live within that toxicity. So in closing, I want to read something by John Muir. He said, nature's peace will flow into you as the sun shines into the trees. The winds will blow their freshness into you, and the storms their energy, while cares will drop off like autumn leaves. And certainly we're having the white oak loses its leaves in the fall. The red oak, they do not. They just drop acorns. The white oak drops acorns and leaves. So it's interesting. I love the nature. I love being out. I love being out and feeling all this holiness around us. Thank you, God. So our senses are invigorated by the weather, by air and sky and color and sound, and they are the bridge to the larger world. We feel connected, and we gain perspective in ourselves. And so the beauty is the eye of the beholder. I believe that that capital letter I, not this eye, but the capital letter I, is that spirit within that connects to the beauty in the world and with other people as well. So, so I invite you now to behold how spirit expresses beauty in your life. Think about that. Take a moment. And when we become aware, we see through new eyes. We allow the eye of the beholder, the you and I, as individualized expressions of the spirit. We are each individualized expressions of that spirit. We call it God, we call it intelligence. We can choose to call it the Christ within, but we are each individualized in that expression. And allow that expression to shine through. Let it shine through you as you connect with the world, with other people, with nature, and with the music. And dance to Creedence Clearwater. So anyway, I wrote this: by opening up our spiritual vision, we see the divine reflected in the mirror of our experiences. I'll read that again because I like it. By opening up our spiritual vision, we see the divine reflected in the mirror of our experiences. And so that's my message this morning. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is mine. Thank you.